So White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says there will be no negotiations on the debt ceiling. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says the GOP is prepared to pass their own debt ceiling bill if President Biden refuses to negotiate. Kim Strassel, writing in the Wall Street Journal, quote, "The entity holding the debt ceiling hostage is a White House refusing to talk with a GOP House that wants a deal and now appears to know what it is after." Joe Pinion, I think there was a little bit of hope when we saw Kevin McCarthy and Schumer, Mitch McConnell. They all went to the White House. Let's talk about the debt ceiling, the budget. Let's get things under control. And that was the last time we saw any hint that there was discussions happening.
Well, let's be very clear. They're effectively saying we will not negotiate the debt ceiling because that would compromise the veracity of America. But we're willing to spend $7 trillion on a tax and spend budget that continues to undermine the veracity of America. So at some point, you have to recognize that the tail is wagging the dog, that these people have no perspective of the actual harm they're doing to the economy today, to the dollar tomorrow, and the middle class Americans who are stuck in that wake.
Yeah, and Chris, too, you have to think about this. I mean, the markets haven't really yet reacted to what we're seeing with this debate. But you get to the summer, you get to June, the markets don't need another problem right now. This would be a huge problem.
It would be a problem, but again, I think it's more of a problem in the headlines than anything else. We have a Constitution, the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, Section 4. We're not going to default on our debt. It's unconstitutional. Other obligations, yes, but it says right there in the Constitution that we have to make good on our debt. The government's not going to stop collecting tax revenue if we hit the debt ceiling, which we've already hit. They've got special procedures at this point in time. Money continues to come in. First and foremost is they've got to pay the national debt by law, by the Constitution, and Social Security and Medicare. It's a lot of scare tactics that goes on when it comes to this. And if you actually read what the CBO says we're not going to default on a debt. They actually say, you know what? Some of our obligations are going to have to go by the wayside.
Well, absolutely. And I think to that point, I mean, people forget what the debt ceiling really is, right? It's money we have already spent. It is the Amex statement reminding you that you owe some money. And the notion that you wouldn't have a family meeting when you get the Amex statement and say, honey, we've got to tighten the belt is ridiculous. And that is effectively what this Biden White House is saying, that, yes, the Amex statement is here. It is astronomical, but we are going to forego the family meeting. We are going to have zero discussion about the spending that produced the bill. And I think on some basic level, it really, in some ways, just shows you how detached they are from reality.
You know what, though? I got to say here, what I think shocks me more and more about the Biden administration is the fact that there's got to be somebody there with a Harvard MBA in there. I don't know. And they don't seem to understand the fact that by pushing these massive stimulus programs, which they did, infrastructure, inflation reduction, on and on, trillions at this point, that's what's causing inflation. And then they pin it on Jerome Powell that he's supposed to fix it, and he can't. I'm not a huge fan of Jerome Powell, but he's powerless at this point to deal with the inflation story. They will. And Biden won't even sit down and talk to Kevin McCarthy to talk about fiscal responsibility. It is not a dirty word. It is not a partisan. It shouldn't be a partisan fight. Fiscal responsibility should be something easy so they should both get on board with, and they won't.
And shame on Jerome Powell that he doesn't even open up his mouth at any point in time to kind of push back.
Scared.
He always says, he's kind of like, well, again, he's the sugar daddy for government. He's the one that allows all of this money to be printed. But absolutely all of these things. Actually, there was a recent report that came out, the Inflation Reduction Act. You had Joe Manchin with an op-ed yesterday in the Wall Street Journal, all upset about it. That's going to cost us $1.2 trillion. $1.2 trillion in all of these green initiatives out there. I mean, it's patently absurd, the direction that we're heading in. And you're right, you talk about all of this spending and sitting down and having a meeting. I think many Americans, including myself, I don't care what side of the aisle on, you're kind of concerned about the seriousness from both sides of the party. We just had Republicans sign off on an omnibus spending package not too long ago and said, here you go, here's more pork barrel spending, here's more money to my district. It has to stop at some point.
27 Republican members of the United States Senate, plus Mitch McConnell, signed on to that monstrosity that didn't even have anything that let us deal with the southern border. So again, with the Democrats, it's more pin the tail on the donkey. First, it was the Putin tax hike. Now it was the rate hikes by Powell. At the end of the day, they refuse to take any accountability for anything that has gone wrong on their watch. It's always somebody else's problem. The solutions are always coming tomorrow. As I say, we're all just extras in Annie. Tomorrow, it's always a day away. We're just stuck here waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Now I'm going to have that song in my head for the rest of the show. Thanks, Joe.